what excites you and drives your passion for being a part of this, that makes you want to do something outside of your day job in your own personal time, that you think is missing in the market, that you think we can help be kind of that driver towards this next evolution of what presentation design is, both for creatives, for companies. I'm just open to hearing, your thoughts on version control and why it excites you.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Is there's so many possibilities for education there as far as letting designers, other presentation designers that maybe, or even just designers in general,
Hmm.
know about presentation design. And then the next level of knowing what their worth is, right? And
Right.
helping them get the best gigs, get the best like attention, and know what to accept, what not to accept as far as like work goes. And
Hmm.
then on the company side, letting companies know why communication and presentation design are so important and should be invested in like first line, right? Like it should be
Right.
part of their general plan and not an afterthought. Yeah.
Yeah, and even to so I mean, there's 2 points I can touch on there. Um, the quick one is investing in it internally. I mean, from every job I've been at, for most of them at least, yeah, actually all of them except for Duarte, all the internal gigs I've had, I'm the only presentation designer. And part
Hmm.
of the issue with that is companies aren't looking at presentation design like, oh, well, we need a junior designer and then we need an art director and a senior art director to build this presentation team. It's like, well, we need a presentation designer. And then, well, then we just give them everything and they do junior level, senior level, every work because we're just this one kind of nomad. And I think that just speaks to how young the industry is in terms of hiring internally for this role. I think that still
Hmm.
needs to be built out, and we're still doing that work for that. Um, but the other piece I wanted to touch more on was the worth. You know, with California now having to post the compensation on the job titles, I think
Hmm.
that might open up some people's minds to how much presentation designers can make in some of these roles. It's actually going to start to be revealed, hopefully in a positive way, for designers that are outside of our field that maybe look at it a certain way or look at it like a role that is less design and more, business or sales, and knowing the value, like with the staffing agencies. We all know
Hmm.
the staffing agencies and kind of what that number is and what the cap
Yep.
of that number is. And I think we've all seen designers that we personally know are very talented that are still getting most of their work to those staffing agencies and kind of not reaching their true potential. Um,
Right. You're leaving half
yeah,
your money
so
on the table there. So,
half, if not more than that. And I think,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's I always, and the tricky part with those staffing agencies that's really difficult is how if you work with one of them, let's say you work with a staffing agency, they get you a gig at Facebook and it's a 2 month gig, let's say.
Mhm.
Now you personally can't go work with Facebook for another year or two because they
Right.
own that relationship. And that makes it extremely difficult to, reach your potential in because now you just lost a client basically, or you
Hmm.
now get paid this much. Part of it is one where revealing all our experiences that people can learn
Hmm.
from and all the fulfillment we get out of this career path, which I think just validates the idea in people's minds who don't know much about it. And it's just, we can spark curiosity in other people's minds that can take them down this career path as well, but also building that network of presentation designers. What I'm really excited about with version control is that to keep producing content, sharing our stories, sharing stories of other designers that are out there and what they're working on and their origin stories, so that we can kind of become this magnet of all like-minded presentation designers, and together we can, start to talk through some of these things and talk through how we can improve our portfolios, how we can improve our resumes, how we can talk to the work we've done differently, and not say, I've designed these slides. These slides look great. I could also design in Keynote and PowerPoint, but instead saying, I helped this person deliver this deck in front of 2,000 people and walk them through how to message and structure this and work with their script document and worked with all the stakeholders to make sure that they were aligned before we got to that moment, before we started designing slides. and show how we're kind of, these maestros of this information that comes up on screen. And I think getting more connections with designers and talking them through that and kind of mentoring them to know how to do that is really our superpower as presentation designers. And that's what I'm excited about with version control is to continue to bring people in on that. Like, I don't want to be someone that just says, oh, if I share it with more people, that means there's going to be less jobs for me. I just want more and more and more for me. It's like, no, I want everyone involved. I want to, 5 years from now, see that every company has a presentation design department internally, that
Right.
we can just have all these
It's
roles and we all know each other.
definitely, I mean, it's part of the abundance mindset, right? Like create more and more will happen. And
Yeah.
it's exactly that, seeing how important it is and finding a place for it in every company, knowing that it's like should be thought of primarily is so important. And so I'm totally right with you there. Also, you something a few I had all these thoughts happening
Yeah.
off
No
of what you
worries.
were saying, and one of them was encouraging people to think outside the box and learn.
Mhm.
Keep learning, because I feel like being a lifelong learner is so important in any career that you go into, but especially here because there's always new technology, right? And that's part
Mhm.
of the whole like Google Slides thing. Like, honestly, I don't like Google Slides, but you got to
Yeah.
use it. Like so
Yeah.
many companies want to use it now because they're in the G Suite thing. So
Yep.
learning new tools, learning animation's huge and is going to only get bigger, right?
Mhm.
And how to incorporate that in your work. Maybe even just giving yourself like little assignments, like find an article and turn that into one slide. Like
Right.
how do you give information? And it's an exercise that you could think of, like something you'd have at school, like book report, right? Except it's in
Yeah.
slide form. So I think things like that, when people don't have children running around and have the time, I think that's an excellent thing to think
For
about.
sure. Yeah, and that's a good point on the, always learning, especially with the different technologies that come up. Like, I was just speaking with someone about how the whole concept of a tech stack is a part of the creative world now. So we have to know, first it was just like we have to know just the Adobe suite, but no, now we have to know Figma on top of that. We have to know whatever else other program that, if you're coding or if you're, doing video, and then you have to know the presentation software, and now you're going to have to know AI. We all are going to have to know how to create prompts,
Mm-hmm.
and because that's going to be a part of everything real soon. I think Google Slides is one of those places where we're probably going to see it pop up, and especially PowerPoint, where they're going to have just AI as a part of it, in terms of taking a brand you have and maybe auto populating a bunch of different slide layouts. And that's not going to scare us away from not having a job, but it's just going to make us more powerful to be more efficient and work a hell of a lot quicker. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then with Google Slides, with kind of the limitation, we all hate it for all our reasons. But the one kind of magic trick that I really took away from working at Duarte, that I picked up on, was a tool that feels like it limits you should be drive your curiosity, because that means most people are going to take that limitation and just take it at face value. But you can
Mm-hmm.
also think of, okay, how can I break that limitation? How can I break this tool? How can I make it do something that it's not built to do? So with Google Slides lately, I've seen a lot of great designs that are really using GIFs to make their designs kind of have these built-in animations that look really polished, look like it's almost a website page, but it's just using small GIFs built into a bigger design. And that's a way to hack Google Slides to make it look special. So
Yep.
that type of
Yep.
thinking is really what's going to drive the next wave of presentation designers.